Howdy, my name is Oatmealent, and today we'll be continuing Let's Play Japan EU4. Where we left off, on the Asian side of our empire, we have a balancing act between ourselves and Ming. Due to an earlier transgression of attacking Korea, Ming has marked themselves as a rival. And the game sees fit to tell me that I need to placate Ming, as they are a threat to our nation. Unfortunately, I can never get to 100 relation with Ming because they're my rival, and even with the royal marriage, I just can't get to 100 relations with Ming to achieve that goal. I don't know how to keep them from being my rivals, so instead, we built this fleet of heavy ships and are planning on keeping a force stationed in the Taiwan Strait with hopes that if they do try any aggression, we can keep them at bay with naval force instead of ground forces, because our ground forces are in the soon-to-be Eastern. Odd to think that this is best said as the eastern part of our New World part of our empire, where we've recently taken a couple of provinces from the Cree and are planning to core them using our fleet basing rights that we have with the Aztecs. As I see it, we have a few options here. We could go after the Aztecs and attempt to destroy them, or at very least have that first war. I don't know if you remember me talking about it before, but the first war with each of these native nations is the war to steal all their gold and maybe a couple of their provinces so that you can core them. But that's not the war in which you would take all of their land. And the strategy that I have planned for the Aztecs as well as the Cree is to take all of their land in one, annex everything, and release these nations that they'd previously conquered, the Cherokee and Shawnee, with the Cree and the Zapotec and Mayans for the Aztecs, leaving me only with what would be considered their native provinces. For the Aztecs, that's going to be quite a bit. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an Aztec native. 6, 7. So that'd be quite a bit of overextension. Meaning that when I do my first war for gold with the Aztecs, I'm probably going to try to take these two provinces, these two gold-producing provinces, and get them cored before I end up having to take these other 5 provinces, because 7 provinces, we can check their tax. We can check their base tax. They don't have the world's highest base tax, but they do have some, so that'll be some significant overextension. As for when we annex the Cree, or not annex, when we take over the Cree, they only have 3 more core provinces that aren't ones that they've taken over from other native tribes. So that won't be so bad. Gonna have to have those wars at different times, though, so that we can core all of them. Unfortunately, with the Aztecs, I don't believe there's gonna be any way... Never mind, I'm wrong. With the Aztecs, if I take these 2 provinces, I'll be able to core all but this province immediately, because I'll get fleet basing rights from the vassals that I release. So that won't be so bad, assuming that in the first war I'm able to take these two provinces. As for the Incans, I'm going to leave them alone for a long time, probably declaring on them whenever possible, so at the end of each peace treaty, just to steal more gold. But that's not as big of a deal, because I'm planning on I mean, they're just going to accumulate the gold for the next war anyway. So I'm not as in a rush to take over the Incans. Yeah, just because there's no way to do that vassal creation out of something that they had previously conquered. The Chimu, I took this province thinking I was going to release them as a vassal and then annex them later in order to get a core here, not thinking I was within the fleet basing range of the Aztecs. The distances are odd here. They're not exactly as they appear on the map. I know that I could have probably made a colony in Panama. That's definitely going to be within fleet basing rights of the Aztecs, and then eventually cored this. But I wasn't so worried about it. I just wanted fleet basing as soon as possible here. But just controlling it gives me the ability to host fleets, although not the ability to make colonies. This will be outside of my fleet basing range, as you can see, because this is not a core. So my plan now, the real prize of the Americas as far as profitability, aside from the eastern seaboard, which is quite profitable, particularly among estuaries, the biggest prize of the whole Americas, especially for a seafaring nation like Japan, is going to be, with a large navy and a small ground force, is the Caribbean. The Caribbean islands not only have high base taxes, they're much more likely to produce profitable things like coffee and sugar. If sugar is profitable, occasionally it isn't. So what I'm going to do is take my bark with my explorer down to this point and start slowly pushing out, seeing if I can get to this side and explore the Caribbean. If I can't get over there, what I'll have to do is build a ship here once I core it. But as you can see, this coring is going to take 8 years. So the question is what to do in the meantime. I wish that I were sure that if I were to attack the Aztecs now, these corings that I've already put into place but aren't done will continue. That losing fleet basing rights with them will not keep me from being able to core these provinces. So in order to check that, I'm going to cancel fleet basing rights with the Aztecs before I declare on them. I'm going to see if these corings are still capable of continuing. And then if they are, I'm going to send this cog fleet back over to Japan, where I'm going to have built a new army to send over to the New World to take over the Aztecs. I don't want to use all of these troops to take over the Aztecs. I want to leave perhaps as many as 9 down here to control revolts in these provinces. So if I'm going to leave 9 there and 4 down here, I only have 1 troop, looks like, that I can use at all for attacking the Aztecs. That's nowhere near enough. I'm going to need probably... Well, I'm going to pretty much restrict myself to 16 because I'm going to use just these cogs as my fleet. So that's kind of the gist of the plan right now. Go over to the Americas, colonize as much of the Americas as possible, use them as a money source, a troop source, to increase my force limit, which comes from provinces. You get cores, including overseas cores, will contribute to this number, and also you can train troops from there. I'm going to gain a lot of troops from what will effectively be the colonies. We'll call these the colonies now because they're overseas, whereas these in the Philippines we're just going to consider part of our part of the new Japan that is going to be this giant island chain. They're going to be the core counties, and I'm going to be spending money building up these countries or these counties. I'm probably just going to spend a bit of money now putting temples in everywhere that can get a temple here in the Philippines. And I'm going to balance probably one colony over here at any given time and one colony. Well, I'm probably not going to have any colonies going over in the New World. There's just nowhere. Maybe once I can get the Caribbean, I'll start colonizing the Caribbean because I want to get ahead of the Europeans to do that. But it seems unlikely that I'm going to be able to put a lot of energy here when it's just seems unlikely to be worth it to put a lot of energy in the Caribbean when it's just so much more worth it to colonize what are effectively going to be taxable at complete tax provinces. So let's just get started with recruiting what is going to be our new world army. I'm going to recruit, what did I say, 13. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 New World troops, and I don't know if I need to recruit any more heavy ships, but I'm not going to recruit any heavy ships until this drops off in 5 years. I picked it up because I didn't think I would be, because I had just recruited these heavy ships. If you look at the Ming fleet, it is 14 light ships. And I think that galleys will be better fighters than light ships in these seas where they get the inland seas where they get the bonus. So I'm not so worried about Ming's naval power being able to take me out, even with just having, I'm not positive, about 5 heavy ships and 12 galleys. I think that should be enough. Plus, I don't really think Ming's going to attack me. I just don't want to end up really regretting it. Other things we're doing is annexing this forest green, for lack of a better term for it, province, and as soon as Guam, I had to have Guam in order to get across the ocean, as you saw. As soon as Guam is done, I'm gonna, if I could sell it to someone, I'd sell it, but I guess it's probably not worth it. I'm just gonna move the troops off and continue colonizing these 4 provinces here. As you can see, they have pretty high base tax, at least in Denmark. And I believe this province also has a high base tax. So that's the plan, and the mid-game plan, like I said, is to get all of the power of troops out of Americas, and then eventually, because I don't seem to need the idea group, since I don't seem to need the idea group for the economic idea group, and I've already gotten the entirety of the other idea group in the diplomatic idea group, for lack of a better way of saying everything, I'm going to be investing in the expansionist ideas, getting the permanent casus belli against Asian nations, and as soon as I westernize by meeting one of the Western colonial powers over in the New World, then I'll have all of those troops that I got from the New World to come over here and quite handedly take over all of Asia. And if that doesn't get me to first rank, I don't know what will. Ming will probably be the last that I attack with the I don't know exactly what to call this group, but the Thai and these groups being the first that I attack, and very brutally suppress any revolts, because I'll station quite a bit of troops once I am able to take over the American provinces. But that's the long game. The long game is to take over Asia using the force that I get from Americas. So let's just get started. That's enough jabbering. Some of you are probably watching these videos in a row, but for me, there's been a night for me to think about strategy, And what I've settled on is use the Americas not for money, but rather for troops. So, I know I said I was going to explore with this guy, but he's a pretty good explorer. I'm going to put him in command of these cogs. Send him back to Guam. You can see the army already built. I'm just gonna put these ships in the Taiwan Strait, just stand them there, because I do believe that the AI is most likely to attack where it actually is the closest to me. And this is where it is the closest. So we see that they've got, looks like 7 galleys there. 7 galleys there, and we saw a lot of light ships over here. So if they were to consolidate their navy, maybe if I brought these light ships over, I'd have a shot. Probably not. So I will probably have to build more ships in the future. But like I said, I don't think that they're gonna attack me. They don't have a claim on any of my provinces. They don't have, let's just make sure. As far as I'm aware, they don't have a casus belli against me. Yeah, you'd see it in the thing. It would say has casus belli minus relations. They don't. So until they do, I'm not gonna. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That could have been disastrous. These cogs didn't want to go to Japan via the open sea. I don't know if you caught that. They wanted to go this way. I mean, maybe that is better, but I know that they'll survive if they go across the open sea. Okay, so this is one of those situations. Not only do I have a tremendous amount of money, but I also really want Guam to finish, so step in and pay for Guam's, I don't know, not to die. So we have our diplomat from the Cree, and as soon as this boat reaches Aztec land and leaves... Oh, what did we decide? We actually decided that this boat would die at this point in the ocean coming back if I didn't have fleet basing rights with the Aztecs. So while I was planning on using this diplomat to cancel fleet basing rights at this point with the Aztecs, I don't understand. So this place cord. I thought that was the pop-up for a colony is done, and I was gonna. That must be Bone is the colony that's over there. I was gonna make another colony, but not a problem at this point. So let's see if it. Chimu nationalists. Let's see if the 4. Oh yeah, definitely. They must fight with something like. I don't really know, because they're not fighting at my tech level. There's no way. If there were 6 rebels against 3 of my guys, and they were at my tech level, then there would actually be a fight, but... Let's see if I make it. It's... Open sea is causing a degree of attrition. I think I'm gonna make it. See, 13. So I can tick down 1 more month. Some of these are at 27. 15. Some of these will die if they don't get into this sea. Looks like I lost a lot of them, actually. I'm down to 6. I wonder why they were... dying faster or slower. Well, that means I have to build more cogs. I need to build 7 more cogs. So that's disconcerting. They made it across pretty easily. The new generation of samurai, eventually, soon, I'm going to start taking army tradition, because I do believe that there's going to be quite a few wars with the Asian nations in the late game. But we're not quite there. We're still solidly in the beginning of the mid-game. I suspect it'll probably take about... We're on the 11th video, I believe. I suspect it'll probably take about 40 videos for me to get to the first rank. I don't know for sure. But it'll definitely take me 40 videos to take over all of Asia. It won't be so hard. It won't be like the long, drawn-out war that I said I disliked. If I can westernize, get the Western unit group, have all the troops from the Americas... It'll just be as easy as fighting the natives was before to fight these Asian nations. Okay. Need to build some cogs. 7 of them. Luckily, Japan is quite good at building a navy, with nearly every province being... Yeah, I really don't know how big of a nation it takes before I stop worrying so much about this technology rush and a little bit more about things like legitimacy. The balance was so clear in the early game, where I was worried about technology first and foremost. But now I'm more worried about other things. But I think because I still have an heir with a strong claim, I'm going to take a legitimacy hit. The question would have been a little bit more difficult if it were like big revolt risk. What do we have here? Oh, it's a bark. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is my navy maintenance up at the top? Yep, all my maintenances are high, so that didn't have anything to do with that lack of being able to make that crossing. I'm just not sure what caused those... Not even... Like, I could have understood if all of the barks died simultaneously. I don't know what caused some of them to die and some of them not to die. They were all at max health, I believe. So... That's the one I was waiting for. I'm gonna send the colonist here, I believe. And I do think that all of this, just every single one of these, is going to be considered not overseas. I hope that, I don't know how it's coded, but I hope that this Japan is united doesn't mean has no vassals. That it only means has none of these native Japanese vassals. Because I'm going to be picking up vassals before I can finish annexing all of these. There's no doubt in my mind about that. This is taking a while. We've lost the effects of trading in tobacco. I guess we must have had a single tobacco trading province over here with what we stole from the Cree. Or we must have had tobacco trading because we had a trade presence in their trade node or something. I'm not really sure, but we'll definitely get trading in tobacco as we're going to have the strongest. What are these? Are these cogs from the people that I annexed? These are definitely troops from the people that I annexed. I'm going to go ahead and keep them. At this point, I see no reason to abandon any troops, as I would just eventually be building them. Even though I'm running at a deficit, I could run at that deficit for a very long time. You might notice that I didn't go on another building spree to build lots of buildings here in Japan, because I want to, as soon as this guy, well, I wanted to pick up an extra colony, but I guess these are cogs, and these are on a place that's not going to revolt. So I'm going to move them over here, and I'll pick up an extra colony. That'll reduce my money by quite a bit. Where's a good place to send a weak stack? This place. Oh, Guam's going to be done soon. I'm going to need a third. I'll send these guys over to Guam to pick up these troops, and I'll just colonize 3 of these over here. See, immediately upon taking the colonist away from the location, they do rise up. That is something I have noticed that does happen. Since I annexed this vassal, need to choose the next guy to annex. I am not sure, but this guy has a total of 12.7, 9, and 6. So it looks like you are the winner. I forgot to set my timer, so I honestly don't know how much time has been in this video. I'm just gonna have to... I thought when I originally started making this series that YouTube would cut me off at 30 minutes, but it's allowed me to post anywhere up to an hour. I didn't think it would let me do that, but it did. Okay, we've got all of our cogs. They are not all fully healed, however. How many more months will it take to fully heal them? Looks like 2 months. This is unacceptable. I cannot have peasant revolt risk in... What happened? Something changed. Legitimacy drop. When I took that legitimacy hit, all of these locations got a penalty. So I need to pump up my stability to keep revolts from happening just across the board. I don't have troops stationed in most of these locations. And now we're back to having only those 3 conquered provinces. The issue is a combination of overextension, legitimacy, stability. So I have to be a bit more conservative with my revolt risk, because I have this overextension. Looks like 1 last month, and they'll be up to full. Oh, drats. 2 of them need another month. Okay, that should be good. Let's lead you over to the launch point of Guam. At the end of this month, Guam should be considered part of my, or a full-blown city. So, now if we check my overextension, you'll see that Guam is not one of them, because, like I said before, it is an overseas colony. I mean, like I said, there's the situation where if you control Tangiers as Portugal or Spain, even though you can walk across a strait to get there, it's considered overseas, whereas the Philippines are not considered overseas from Japan. It just has to do with if there's an ocean between them, as I think there must be an ocean here, or if it's considered part of another ocean group. I mean, I'd understand Hawaii being part of another ocean group because it's actually considered part of the California trade node. But these others that are part of the Filipino trade node or Philippines trade node, I don't really get why they're considered a different ocean zone. But okay, and so now I'm gonna go ahead and send a colonist here. Where's those 13 cooks? Okay, here they are. Yeah, still no missions that I'm interested in. Wish me luck. I cross the sea. Ne'er to return again. No, they've made this trip once. This direction. I think it has to do with being in island chains for a greater deal of the time. I really don't know why I can make it one direction but not the other, but somehow intuitively I thought crossing this ocean early is going to be harder than crossing it late. We'll see. I mean, this guy still has the 3 maneuver. That's the highest maneuver I've ever had. So, away they go. Yeah, they're just so weak compared to my troops. 6 rebels on the Japanese homeland would have been a lot more troublesome. Or maybe rebels' strength doesn't change over time. Maybe all rebels are the same strength. And I simply have more tech now, and my men are stronger, and that's just all there is. And I haven't been able to differentiate between the two because the 2 factors happened at the same time. I got better tech, and I went on a conquest spree at the same time. Okay, how are we doing? Looking pretty good. 0. Hit 0 for a little bit there. Now we're getting pretty big. I didn't know, because that was a very aggressive, highly populated province, if 3 troops was going to be enough. Yep, they're going to make it. They already made it. This is considered a safe zone. So I don't actually need them to even repair. What I'm going to do is drop off the troops. I'm actually going to cancel my fleet basing rights with the Aztecs right now. And check if I can still core this province. Any progress is still being made. Okay, instantaneously, fleet basing rights were cancelled. I hope 13 troops is enough, because that's all I'm going to use. I'm going to keep these here for revolts. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not. I lied. I want the conquistador over there. And since I'm gonna just have these troops, I think 2 is enough to cross Texas. I don't think that there's a lot of. I think the only time when I crossed it before, there were only aggressive natives of strength 1. Oh no! I'm so silly. When I canceled the fleet basing rights, Okay, so I knew that I was going to be able to get here. I didn't realize that this alcove, or inlet, rather, was not quite enough to... was not quite close enough to this point to be considered, like, safe zone, or however they factored in that I won't take attrition. Okay, I'm gonna get my conquistador over here. I guess we could meet up in the middle. The sooner I go to war, the better. I mean, I have 90 days until I can declare war when I have a diplomat, but... This is actually a desert. Yep, this is the desert. And this is actually part of Mexico, because here's the Rio Grande. This should be a desert as well, yeah. But my home is considered a grasslands. I don't think that I would have described it as a grasslands. It's actually significantly tropical there. But yeah, grassland's fine. As far as the supply limit being high. And the tax being high is good too. It's very fertile land. Loved that place. Okay, are you ready, Aztecs? I have been your friend for the last... So before we took the tax income loss, because we were thinking to ourselves that the gold lost from taxation over 10 years was going to be low, but at this point it's going to be pretty steep. Let's calculate it out. So 10 years at a tax, it'll be 1.3 per month that we lose, assuming that we don't have any modifiers right now. Well, so it'll be slightly less than 1.3 per month, and times 12, let's call that 15 point something 6. So 15.6 times 10 is 150. Yeah, I'm not going to if the question were 150 gold for the, because I'm immediately gonna have to pump the administrative power back in to keep their votes down. Once again, 150 gold, just not enough to get me to be that worried. Especially considering I'm gonna take a huge amount of gold from the Aztecs, I suspect. So 7 is definitely enough to quash any natural revolts. Not necessarily revolts that are event-based, but event-based revolts I get the decision typically. Okay. It is your turn, Aztecs. Oh, I should probably start here. Go across here, because you probably won't have to take every single one of their provinces, but you definitely have to take the provinces that you want them to give you, and those being these two. Great, so we've cored this location, so now if we wanted to take that one or this one, not that I really want to, although this is a good province. This is quite profitable. I'll probably pick that one up. I can, even if I don't have fleet basing rights with the Aztecs. So, that's good. Gonna use the same battle tactic as I was using before. They're gonna move on March 2nd. I'm gonna move on March 10th. They're going to this place. And we shall have a combat. Nope. We won't have a combat. They're gonna still be able to get away. That's fine. Now we get a combat. I'm actually gonna leave these provinces without walking over there personally, because these guys will just be able to clear it out. You remember how quickly the sieging was going for natives. It takes longer to walk to the provinces than it does to siege them. So I just need to get out and spread out as fast as possible, assuming that they only had one doom stack. Which doesn't seem about right. I mean, the Aztecs should have more than 11 troops. I thought for sure that they'd have more troops, the Aztecs, than the Kree did. But maybe they have a bad ruler this time, and he just didn't take care of them, or something. Something flavorful like that, and not something silly like we just didn't code the Aztecs of having a lot of troops. which I would think would be a little bit unrealistic, but I do believe you need 2 to siege down Mexico City. I think that you do need 2, not just 1 troop. Ah, there's more troops. There's more. I thought that there would be more. They pulled up their Mayan reserves. I'm sure there's something about the Aztecs not wanting previously conquered peoples to have, like, troops or something like that. I'm not sure, but I strongly suspect most dominating powers have rules about who can be in the military. Okay, am I forgetting something? Anything? Whenever a war happens, all sort of other micro takes a back seat. So let's just make sure for a second. I don't have any advisors that are better than my current advisors. Nope. I don't have anything over here that needed taken care of. Nope. However, I probably could get on building a few more temples over here. Don't want to spend all my administrative power. Let's see. Ports are blockaded. They're blockading this port, but I don't know why. I understand that, like, provinces that you occupy in this game are considered to be your provinces in terms of revolt risk and blockadability. So I suppose I should check how much gold the Aztecs actually have to see how much I need. Excuse me, for war score. I'm also going to take those 2 provinces from them. The Aztec treasury is 5,994. So that means that if I really wanted to squeeze out all the gold from them, I would need multiple wars in which I didn't annex them entirely, but rather extorted gold. Because even... well, that's a little disconcerting, I gotta say. I don't know how long I have before the European colonial powers get here. And that's right. I was gonna go find out how long I have. No. Do we think 3 cogs can take on a heavy? 13 cogs can take on a heavy ship? I honestly have no clue. I don't want a pirate there. Well, let's see. What's the worst that'll happen? So I've cored this. I'm now going to send my missionary here. Am I winning this battle or losing it? Kind of looks like I'm winning. However, wow, he's an amazing fighter, this pirate captain, with 6 shock and a fire, but the 6 shock is a big deal. That's really impressive fighting capabilities. I feel like once I take Mexico City, I'm gonna get the 100 war score. I see. You have to take every single province to get 100 war score. Well, that's not so bad. I'll just take every province. I seem to have defeated those pirates without losing a cog. I believe I had 13 before, and I still have 13. However, it's disconcerting to see that there are pirates over here. That means that there could be pirates in the Caribbean. As, like, cliche as that sounds, the reason that matters is I'm about to send a lonely bark on an expedition to the Caribbean. Like I said, that's really the only provinces that I think that there's a high likelihood that I'll be able to make a profit on in the Americas. Can pick up a tech. So I'm thinking no to picking up diplomatic techs. I cap out at 1598. Now I understand that I must have a guy who reduces diplomatic tech in order to get that price. Oh, neighborhood bonus. That's right, I'm so far behind that the Chinese, the Ming, have gotten ahead of me. Or maybe one of those places in the Philippines. Which is weird because they're typically so slow. But I actually don't care at all about this technology tree right now. I'm much more interested in picking up that idea group that would allow me to have another colonist and eventually a casus belli against all of the Asian nations. So I'm going to hold on to these and wait until I get the Noble Republics giving me the second idea group. I do believe that is the better use of these monarch points. I really wonder if it was worth it to siege down for this last % of war score. But it didn't take that long. Okay, I want for sure these two provinces. And then as much gold as you'll get me. Looks like that's it, eh? It'll give me 36 overextension. I wonder. I guess I have pretty high base tax in this one. Before I do something that silly, what's my current overextension? So it's 44. I'll be able to core these instantaneously because this got cored, and that should be within my range. This could technically not be within my range. Technically, I don't know my range. Do I have an advisor that would increase my range? No, I don't. I'm still gonna go for it. This is a pretty profitable province. And I'm gonna have to eventually core all these provinces anyway. So yeah, that's my peace offer. You can take it or take it because I don't think you're allowed to reject. I'm not positive. It says sometimes when you give them a good peace offer, it says this is better than they expected. So that they have to take it. But notice that when it says who's going to get angry with me, it'll get the Kree angry with me, but none of these Asian powers have met the Aztecs, and as a result, none of them can get angry with me. I'd love to have my conquest of the Kree and Aztecs occur before the European powers find them, making it so that I don't anger the European powers. But I don't really know if I see that they have 5,000 gold. That's what it says, right? Well, I think that's what it said before. I don't know if I want to waste that 2,000 gold, because it'll be a while. I mean, I'll have a peace treaty, then I'll have to attack them again. I don't know if I want to waste that, or what's more important to me, the time or the gold. I actually suspect that the time is going to be more important to me. So odds are good that in the next peace treaty, I will allow that 2,000 gold to burn in hopes that I get the Aztecs before the Europeans get here and before there's any chance that the Europeans will attack the Aztecs and take over the entire Aztecs before I can do it. So I'm going to go ahead and send this diplomat, and depending on European progress, that will be how we determine what I do in the next war. What? I have 100 overextension? No, 80. Okay, good. Just making sure my truce with the Incas is already up, and my truce with the Kree is just about to be up. So what I'm going to do is run perhaps 8. I'm going to run all the troops over here, but I'm going to keep about 8 there, run the rest over to the Kree, and then do that conquest of the Kree that I was talking about, because my treaty with them is almost up. Let's not forget about this guy. You'll notice that I'm not using lots of light ships to protect my trade. I will eventually be using light ships in the protect trade. Huh. 3 simultaneous events. Well, let's go through them in order of ease of answering the question. Spices, something that I had been wanting to gain because they're the most profitable. You can see here their base price is really high and their demand is also high, so that is great news. Losing face. The instability in our realm has led others to question my ability to maintain cohesion. Well, definitely going to take the prestige hit. I'm flush in prestige. And Unruly Samurai. If I remember, this is a good event. 60 administrative power for free, so. Net, those were good events. Let's go back to our conquesting. Actually, all I really need to worry about is this boat. You don't want to leave these boats unattended because they will eventually get out of the ability to have supply, and if you don't move them, and you don't pay attention to them, they'll die. That all being said, looks like this is a good place to cut the video. I am probably just going to record another video right after this, so see you in a blink.